Okay. So let's do 13.
Yes.
Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, text number 13. Tata shankascha bhairyascha pranavānaka gomukha sahasarivabhya hanyanta sashabda stumulo abhavat. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. This continued from the story that Duryodhana walks up to Dronacharya, he speaks to Dronacharya, then he speaks to Bhishma, and then now Bhishma is blowing his conch shell. This does not have a purport, so I will go to text number 14. 14 says, Tatha shvetai hayaryukte mahati syandane sthitau madhavaha pandavaschaiva divyau shankau pradhatmato. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells. Purport. In contrast with the conch shell blown by Bhishma Deva, the conch shells in the hands of Krishna and Arjuna are described as transcendental. The sounding of the transcendental conch shells indicated that there was no hope of victory for the other side because Krishna was on the side of Pandavas. Jayastu Panduputranam Yesham Paksha Janardana. Victory is always with persons like the sons of Pandu because Lord Krishna is associated with them. And whenever and wherever the Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also there because the goddess of fortune never lives alone without her husband. Therefore, victory and fortune were awaiting Arjuna, as indicated by the transcendental sound produced by the conch shell of Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Besides that, the chariot on which both the friends were seated had been donated by Agni to Arjuna, and this indicated that this chariot was capable of conquering all directions wherever it was drawn over the three worlds. So, this particular purport is like very important in this whole chapter because it indicates the reasons why Duryodhana will lose and Pandavas will win. So in the storyline, both the parties blow their conch shells, and in the purport, Prabhupada's writing that Bhishma Deva's conch shell was not spoken as transcendental, but Krishna and Arjuna's conch shells were spoken as transcendental. And then the sounding of the transcendental conch shell indicate there was no hope for victory for the other side. Why? And then now there are the reasons. The reason is Krishna is present with Arjuna. Wherever there is Krishna, there is goddess of fortune. And wherever there is goddess of fortune and Krishna, there is victory. That is for sure. And plus, the additional benefit is the chariot on which Krishna and Arjuna are seated was given by Agni, meaning it was capable to go everywhere, not just in the land. It could go to higher planetary regions, it could go to lower planetary regions, it could go in the sky, below the earth. It can go all 10 directions. So the chariot was a special chariot. So already we have 3 reasons why Arjuna and the Pandavas will win and Duryodhana will lose the war. You want to add something or read further?
Reading.
Okay.
Panchadanyam Rishikesha Devadatam Dhanam Jaya Poundram Datmau Mahasham Bhima Karma Mrigotar. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panjajanya. Arjuna blew the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of a Herculean task, blew his terrific conch shell called Kundara. But Lord Krishna is referred to as Rishikesha in this verse because he is the owner of all senses. The living entities are part and parcel of him, and therefore the senses of the living entities are also part and parcel of his senses. The impersonalities cannot account for the senses of the living entities, and therefore they are always anxious to describe all living entities as senseless or impersonal. The Lord, situated in the hearts of living entities, directs their senses, but he directs in terms of the surrender of the living entity, and in the case of a pure devotee, he directly controls the senses. Here on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Lord directly controls the transcendent senses of Arjuna, and thus his particular name is Rishikesha. The Lord has different names according to his different activities. For example, his name is Madhusudana because he killed the demon of the name Madhu. His name is Govinda because he gives pleasure to the cows and the senses. His name is Vasudeva, son of Devaki as his mother. His name is Yashoda Nandana because he awarded his childhood pastimes to Yashoda at Vrindavana. His name is Partha Sarathi. Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna is referred to as Dhananjayana in this verse because he helped his elder brother in fetching wealth when it was required by the king to make expenditures of different sacrifices. Similarly, Bhima is known as a Vakrodhara because he could eat as voraciously as he could perform a Herculean task, such as killing the demon Hidimba. So, the particular type of conch shell blown by different personalities on the side of Pandavas, beginning with the lords, were all very encouraging to the fighting soldiers. On the other hand, there were no such credits, nor the presence of Lord Krishna, the supreme director, nor that goddess of fortune. So they were presented to lose the battle, and that was the message announced by the sounds of the conscience. Yes. In this chapter, it is explained different names of Lord Krishna. Here it is mentioning Rishikesha because that name came. He is directing Arjuna, and the conscience of the Kurukshetra, Arjuna referred as Dhananjaya, and Bhishma referred as Prakodara. And here the conscious sound frightening sound of conscious that is the credit that they are winning because of the goddess of the fortune, but that is not presented in the other side. So here it declares that Pandava will win it because Lord Krishna is with them. I made any mistake?
Yeah, very nicely you explained. There is another name of Krishna mentioned here also, which is Madhusudana. So Krishna killed a demon called Madhu, and so his name was also Madhusudana. So later in this verse, he is using Rishikesha. Later he will use Madhusudana also. So that's the example being given that Krishna has different names to signify different things. Like he's also named as Devaki Nandana because he is the son of Devaki. He's also named as Yashoda Nandana because he is the son of Yashoda. His name as Partha Sarathi because he is the
Chariot.
yeah
Chariot driver.
charioteer of Arjuna, and Arjuna's name is Partha. So Sarathi means the charioteer, and so Partha Sarathi, he is the chariot driver of Arjuna. Okay, should we go to the next one?
Yeah.
Next is 16 through 18. Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthira Nakula Sahadevascha Sughosha Manipushpako Kashyascha Parameshva Asaha Shikhandi Cha Maharatha Drishtadyumno Viratascha Satyakish Parajitaha Drupado Draupedeyascha Sarvashaha Prithvipate Saubhadrascha Mahabaho Shankhan Dadmuho Pratak. King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Ananta Vijaya. Nakula and Sahadeva blew the Sughosha and Manipushpaka. That great archer of the king of Kashi, the great fighter Shikhandi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Drupadi, and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells. Sanjaya informed King Dhritarashtra very tactfully that his unwise policy of deceiving the son of Pandu and endeavoring to enthrone his own sons on the seat of the kingdom was not very laudable. The signs already clearly indicated that the whole Kuru dynasty would be killed in the great battle, beginning with the grandsire Bhishma, down to the grandsons like Abhimanyu and others, including kings from many states of the world. All were present there and all were doomed. The whole catastrophe was due to King Dhritarashtra because he encouraged the policy followed by his sons. So everybody blows their conch shell. It is nice to note the names of different conch shells if you like, and then it can be a kind of meditation. And also in this purport is being mentioned that everybody blew their conch shell, and the signs already clearly indicated that the whole Kuru dynasty would be killed in the battle. And all this was only because of Dhritarashtra, because Dhritarashtra encouraged the policy that his sons followed. All the entire dynasty would be killed. What did his sons do? His sons were on the path of irreligion, and Dhritarashtra did not stop them. And so this war is happening, and in this war, the entire dynasty would die.
Yes.
Okay, you want to add?
Continue. Yes, and not continue. Can I continue?
Yeah.
Sakosha Dhartarashtrana Hrudayani Vridharayat Navascha Prithvi Chaiva Tumulo Kritnyu Nayadan. The blowing of these different conches became uproarious.
When you find it difficult to read, you can look down in the word to word. You see right below the verse, there is something called synonym. And in synonym, the different words are split up together. So like the last word, if it is difficult to read on the top, you come to the bottom, and then you can read from the bottom. It's abhayano na dayan. So when you read from the bottom, sometimes it's easier because the words are split together.
Yes, abhayanu nathayan. Resounding. The blowing of these different conches became uproarious, vibrating both of the sky and the earth, and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of sons of Dhritarashtra. But when Bhishma and the others on the side of Duryodhana blew their respective conches, there were no heartbreaking on the part of the Pandavas. Such occurrences are not mentioned, but in this particular verse, it is mentioned that the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra were shattered by the sounds vibrated by the Pandavas' party. This is due to Pandavas and their confidence in Lord Krishna. One who takes the shelter of the Lord Krishna, Supreme Lord, has nothing to fear, even in the midst of greatest calamity. Yes. Yeah. When Duryodhana and when they blew their conches, the Pandavas, they didn't fear, but due to the presence of Krishna, instead of Duryodhana and all other parties shattered by the sounds vibrated from Pandavas' conches. So here it mentioning that if you surrender everything, if you surrender and the shelter of Lord, Supreme Lord, you don't want to fear, even in the greatest calamity. Yes.
So one important thing to help ourselves remember is whenever there is a calamity in our life, which sometimes we feel every day is a calamity because some days are tough. Sometimes to live with family is tough. Sometimes at work, the work pressure is so much that it feels like a calamity. So in our life, when we are going through different calamities of life, then we should remember to take shelter of the Supreme Lord so that we don't have fear. The fear arises because we think this situation will shatter me down. We don't think this situation is help. Krishna has brought this situation in front of me, and let me see how I can serve him in this situation. If we orient our thoughts in that way, then there is no fear. Sometimes the way we perceive things is very different, and we think, oh my God, this situation is going to eat me up. Life is going to end. And we perceive it like that. But then if we look at the situation saying, oh, Krishna has brought this situation in front of me, let me see how I can serve Krishna in this situation. When we see the situation like that, and then we are able to take shelter of Krishna, saying, Krishna, please help me to see how I can serve you in this situation, then there is no fear. But often we get carried away by the situation. And so we are in great pain, anxiety, and we experience different kinds of negative emotions. Fear is one of them. And a remedy to that is orient your thoughts and then always want to take shelter and want to do service to the Supreme Lord.
Yes.
Okay, text 20 says, Atha vyavasthitan drishtva dhartarashtraन् kapidvijaha pravrate shastra sampate dhanur udhyamya pandavaha rishikesham tadha vakyam idam aha mahipate. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot, hearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. Purport. The battle was just about to begin. It is understood from the above statement that the sons of Dhritarashtra were more or less disheartened by the unexpected arrangement of military force by the Pandavas, who were guided by the direct instruction of Lord Krishna on the battlefield. The emblem of Hanuman on the flag of Arjuna is another sign of victory because Hanuman cooperated with Lord Rama in the battle between Rama and Ravana, and Lord Rama emerged victorious. Now, both Rama and Hanuman were present on the chariot of Arjuna to help him. Lord Krishna is Rama himself, and wherever Lord Rama is, his eternal servitor Hanuman and his eternal consort Sita, the goddess of fortune, are present. Therefore, Arjuna had no cause to fear any enemies whatsoever, and above all, the Lord of the senses, Lord Krishna, was personally present to give him direction. Thus, all good counsel was available to Arjuna in the matter of executing the battle. In such auspicious conditions arranged by the Lord for his eternal devotee lay the signs of assured victory. So, continuing further on the signs of victory, we read 3 previously, that the chariot was given by Agni, Krishna is on the chariot, goddess of fortune is on the chariot. Now, the 2 more are coming here to make 5. Hanuman, so Arjuna's chariot has a flag, and the flag is Hanuman's flag, meaning Hanuman is on the chariot with them. And Hanuman was with Lord Rama in the battle of Ramayana with Ravana. So, and Lord Rama was victorious. So, now Lord Rama in the form of Krishna is on the chariot and Hanuman is on the chariot. So, that's the 4th sign of victory. 5th is because Krishna is with Arjuna, Krishna has all the good counsel available. He can ask Krishna for direction and Krishna can give him direction. And somebody directed by the Supreme Lord, there is no reason why he will not win. So, saying there are 5 reasons why Arjuna will win the battle even before the battle is starting.
Yes.
And here there is a change in the scene. Next verse, Arjuna starts to speak. So up until now, it's just Sanjaya narrating to Dhritarashtra what is happening on the battlefield. And now Arjuna is ready to fight. Everybody has blown their conch shell. Arjuna takes his bow and arrow. He is ready to fight. And then before the battle begins, Arjuna speaks as follows. We will see in the next verse.
Okay. Arjuna Uvacha. Senayoru ayor madhye desam stapaya me achyuda yavadetan nirishye yaham yothu kamana vastitanan karmaya saha Sahayotya Yamasmin Rana Samudrame. Arjuna said, "O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms." Purport. Although Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, out of his causeless mercy, he was engaged in the service of his friend. He never fails in his affection for his devotees, and thus he is addressed here as infallible. As a charioteer, he had to carry out the orders of Arjuna, and since he didn't hesitate to do so, he is addressed as infallible. Although he has accepted the poison of the chariot of his devotee, his supreme position, accepted the position of the chariot for his devotee, his supreme position was not challenged. In all circumstances, he is a supreme personality of Godhead, Rishikesha, the Lord of total senses. The relationship between the Lord and his servitor is very sweet and transcendent. The servitor is always ready to render service to the Lord, and similarly, the Lord is always seeking an opportunity to render some service to the devotee. He takes greater pleasure in his pure devotees assuming the advantageous position of ordering him than he does in being the giver of orders. Since he is master, everyone is under his orders and no one is above him to order him. But when he finds that the pure devotee is ordering him, he obtains a transcendental pleasure, although he is the infallible master in all circumstances. As a pure devotee of Lord, Arjuna had no desire to fight with his cousins and brothers, but he was forced to come on the battlefield by the obstinacy of Duryodhana, who was never agreeable to any peaceful negotiation. Therefore, he was very anxious to see who the leading persons are present on the battlefield were. Although there was no question of the peacemaking endeavor on the battlefield, he wanted to see them again and to see how much they were bent upon demanding an unwanted war. Yes. Here, Arjuna says to Krishna to put the chariot in between the battlefield, and he want to know. He doesn't want to fight with his cousins and brothers, and he want to know who are on the opposite side. Here, here it says that Lord, the Supreme Personality, normally orders to others, but here the devotee ordering to Shikesha that he want put the chariot in the middle of the battlefield. It explains that Arjuna doing like that because the Lord accepted that he doing with his full devotion, and sometimes the Lord also enjoy that action.
Yeah, and one more point being mentioned is just because Krishna was taking the position of a chariot driver of Arjuna, that does not diminish his position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is still the creator of the universe, the maintainer of the universe, but by his own sweet will, he is taking the position of a chariot driver to Arjuna. Just like a grandfather may want to become a horsey for his grandchild. A grandfather and grandchild can play a horsey, but that does not diminish the position of the grandfather. Similarly, Krishna is still the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he, like Krishna's devotees want to serve Krishna, Krishna want to serve his devotees. So service is our constitutional position, and we are getting it from Krishna. And so Krishna also wants to serve his devotees, like the devotees want to serve Krishna. And sometimes it is said there is a competition. The devotee wants to serve Krishna and Krishna wants to serve the devotees. And then it is said, so who wins? So they play like this, Krishna and his devotees. So Krishna comes and becomes a chariot driver for Arjuna.
Yes.
Okay, let's do further. Text number 20. Yotsyamanaan aveksheyam ye eti atra samagataha dhartra rashtrasya durbuddhe yudhe priya chikirsavaha. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Purport: it was an open secret that Duryodhana wanted to usurp the kingdom of the Pandavas by evil plans in collaboration with his father Dhritarashtra. Therefore, all persons who had joined the side of Duryodhana must have been birds of the same feather. Arjuna wanted to see them on the battlefield before the fight was begun, just to learn who they were, but he had no intention of proposing peace negotiations with them. It was also a fact that he wanted to see them to make an estimate of the strength which he had to face. Although he was quite confident of victory because Krishna was sitting by his side. So, important point here to check or to note down is the reason why Arjuna asks Krishna to take his chariot between the two armies is Arjuna wanted to assess the strength of the opposite party. So when you are in a battlefield, ready to fight, you want to know the strength of the opposite person so you can fight accordingly. So Arjuna is going prepared in the battlefield. He is not overconfident, although he is confident, he is doing his part. He is doing what he has to do. He's not saying, Krishna is on my part, that's fine, I will anyhow win. He's not taking it easy. He is doing his part, and then the result is up to Krishna. Similarly, when we take to Krishna consciousness, we should do our duty nicely. We should not be negligent in doing our duty, saying, oh, Krishna is on my side. We should do our duty very nicely, and result is in Krishna's hand. Whatever comes, we accept. And another point is, Arjuna did not have any intention to make a peace negotiation. So he just wants to go see who all have come to fight, because Duryodhana was on the side of evil, and Prabhupada saying everybody who was on Duryodhana's side was like Duryodhana. Meaning, if you meet a person, you know the person, you will know how his friends are, because usually when we make friends with like-minded persons. So if you meet one person, you will know his friends. So he knows Duryodhana is evil, And so all the friends of Duryodhana are also like him, evil. So he wanted to see who all have come to fight.
Okay. Text number 25. भीष्मद्रोण प्रमुखत सर्वेषां च महीक्षिता उवाच पार्थ पश्यतान् समवेतान् कुरुनीति. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. Purport. As the supreme soul of all living entities, Lord Krishna could understand.
We should do 24, right? Which one are you reading?
25.
Did we do 24?
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm going back. 24. Yeah. Eva mukto Rishikesha Gudaveshena Bharata Senayoru Hayor Madhye Tava Ittua Rethotamam. Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. Purport. In this verse, Arjuna is referred to as Gudakesha. Gudaka means sleep, and one who conquers sleep is called Gudakesha. Sleep also means ignorance. So Arjuna conquered both sleep and ignorance because of his friendship with Krishna. As a great devotee of Krishna, he could not forget Krishna even for a moment, because that is the nature of the devotee. Either in walking, waking, or in sleep, a devotee of the Lord can never be free from thinking of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Thus, a devotee of Krishna can conquer both the sleep and ignorance simply by thinking of Krishna constantly. This is called a Krishna consciousness or samadhi. As Rishikesha, or the director of the senses and mind of every living entity, Krishna could understand Arjuna's purpose of placing the chariot in the midst of armies. Thus he did so and spoke as follows. Yes. Here Sanjaya said Arjuna is referred as sleep and what is it? Sleep and ignorance, because in the sleep or if he is awakened, Arjuna's mind is always filled with Krishna conscious. Krishna. That's the way the real, what is it? The real devotee, in their sleep or they awaken, they always think about Krishna. Now Krishna understands why Arjuna said, keep the chariot in between the two armies. Yes. And that is explaining the next one. Next 25.
So Arjuna is being referred to as Gunakesha, somebody who has conquered ignorance, not somebody who is in ignorance.
Conquered. Okay. Opposite. Yeah.
So if you read, it says Gudaka means sleep, and one who conquers sleep is called Gudakesha.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't pay attention to that word. Yeah. One who conquers, yes.
And sleep also means ignorance. So Arjuna had conquered both sleep and ignorance because he was a friend of Krishna.
Yeah, correct. Oh, what a mistake I did it. I am telling Arjuna is a sleep and ignorance. No, he conquered ignorance. Yes.
So for us, if we want to conquer sleep and we want to conquer ignorance, then we must become friend of Krishna. Because Arjuna had those qualities because of his friendship with Krishna. Now somebody may ask, hey, to keep the body fit, you have to sleep. How can you conquer sleep? You conquer sleep meaning you're not sleeping. And the our acharyas in the disciplic succession, they have shown by their own example that when you are in a transcendental position, you don't need so much sleep. Srila Prabhupada, who did the commentary for this Bhagavad Gita, and we are reading the purports. These purports Srila Prabhupada wrote in the night. So Srila Prabhupada, he would sleep from 12 to 2. He would just sleep for 2 hours in the whole day, and it was that much sleep was enough for him. He would wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and he would write these purports of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. For whom? For us. For people who he didn't even know. He wrote these purports for us, giving literally his blood, meaning he sacrificed everything to give this knowledge to us. And so, when it is said you can conquer sleep, it is a fact, although at our stage we may not be able to conquer sleep because there is so much contamination. And when we are contaminated in a conditioned life, then you have to sleep for 8 hours. You cannot do without it. But when you can chant purely and you become a pure devotee, then you don't need so much sleep because your thoughts are always absorbed in Krishna, and that makes you so transcendental. And sleep is a material quality, ignorance is a material quality. The moment you hit transcendence, there is no sleep. So when it says you can conquer sleep, it's not just a line over there. It can be experienced and practiced in our own life by wanting to chant Hare Krishna more purely and get free from our contamination to reach that stage. It's not going to happen tomorrow. Prabhupada said it took me 30 years to perfect my chanting. So if Prabhupada it took 30 years, for us it may take 30 lifetimes. Because
Correct.
we are not Srila Prabhupada.
Never. Not even a close. No way.
So we have to be patient and we have to strive hard to purely
Breathe.
chant every day. And from there, we can come to this stage. This is our goal. And keeping our goal in the front, we keep moving forward. When we don't have a goal, then usually we become lazy.
Yes.
So when we have a goal, then the goal helps us keep going. So our goal is to come to that platform where we can dedicate our lives, our day, our word, our speech for the pleasure of Krishna. And that comes by sincerely chanting Hare Krishna. So our daily effort to chant purely must be going on side by side to get to our goal. So someday, if we are lazy and our mind is thinking, oh, should I wake up and should I chant today? Then we have to remember our goal and say, Srila Prabhupada wrote these purports for me. And when he was not lazy to give me this knowledge, why am I becoming lazy to receive what he has given me? And we can drive away the laziness and be fixed on the goal.
Mm.
Okay, you have something to add?
No, everything is up. So the main thing, we need a goal, and we have to achieve that goal. We need to come close to Krishna. Yes, by chanting.
And what is that goal?
Goal, how to get to Krishna close to us.
Yeah, that's a nice goal. But goal has to be something which you can measure. Meaning, if you goal has to be quantified. Like you can say, I will do reading for 10 minutes every day. And that reading of 10 minutes of Bhagavad Gita every day will help me bring myself closer to Krishna. When you have such a goal, then you can measure the goal. Every day when you read, you keep a book, a schedule, and you say, okay, I read today, I read today, I read today. So at the end of the week, you can come back and revisit and say, okay, I said I will read every day 10 minutes. Let me see how many days out of the 7 days in the week did I read. You can say, oh, I read for 5 days. Nice. So next week, let me at least keep up 5 days and see how I can go to 6 days. So when we form goals, the goals have to be quantified and measurable. Goal cannot be up in the air, say, I want to come closer to Krishna. Yes, but how? What is a way in which you want to come closer to Krishna? You can say, I will wake up every day at X clock and I will chant every day these many rounds from X clock to Y clock. Because when you fix a time, like people go to office, they have a time. I go to office at 9 o'clock. I come back from office at 6 o'clock. It helps one to become regulated and to do the same activity over and over. Then the body gets used to it. Then you don't have to put so much effort because the body got used to it. Now you get up every day and then you chant, like you get up every day and you go to office. It becomes like a schedule. So you can say my goal is I will every day get up at this time and I will every day chant from this time to this time for the pleasure of Krishna. This will take me closer to Krishna. So you find activities that will take us closer to Krishna, and you include those activities in your schedule, and to keep doing those activities is your goal, because that is taking you closer to Krishna. That's how we do in corporate world also, right? If you are making a project, you're doing a project, and they'll say, okay, when will you finish the project? You say, we'll finish the project at X day. They'll say, okay, what are the milestones? Meaning, if it is a year-long project, then by March, how much will you finish? By June, how much will you finish? So they want to keep track if you're on schedule. So like we plan our projects in the workplace, we plan our getting closer to Krishna. That's our life project. So we plan our life project. How am I going to get closer to Krishna? What are my milestones? So like we don't take our work life easy we take it seriously. We take our Krishna consciousness also seriously. We don't take it like, okay, whatever.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so we will read again next week.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for joining. Take care. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mother.